Hey guys, and welcome to this video on Black Moon Lilith in astrology. I'm Cassandra, the Saffron Sage, helping you use astrology to evolve, and in this video we're talking about Black Moon Lilith. The Black Moon Lilith, we'll talk about what the point is, we will talk about the mythology, and then we'll go through what it means for the sign that you have Black Moon Lilith in your natal chart. So Black Moon Lilith is not a planet, it's not an asteroid, it is a point in space. It's called a lunar apogee, and it is the distance from the Earth to the furthest point on the moon's orbit. So the moon travels around the Earth in an elliptical orbit. It's not a perfect circle. So there is a point that ends up being further away from the Earth on that circle. And so Black Moon Lilith is that point in space. There is the Black Moon Lilith, and there's also the true Black Moon. So if you really want to get technical, you can look at both of these and see which one you feel resonates. But for the purposes of this video, just simply clicking Lilith in the chart on other objects in astro.com and seeing where it shows up in your chart, that is enough to get value out of these videos. So that being said, let's move on to the myth of Lilith. So Lilith was the true first lady before Eve even existed. Lilith was the first lady, and she was in the Garden of Eden with Adam. And one of the stories I read says they were both created from the dust of the earth. And there are many different myths that talk about Lilith. There's not just one, so these differ. But the gist of the story is that she wanted to be on top. Adam said, "No, you'll submit to me," and she would not submit. And because she would not submit, she got kicked out. Some people say she left, some people say she got kicked out, but the sort of overarching theme here is that she was not accepted just for having the same desires that Adam had. I think it's so fascinating that this story isn't even told. And so again, here the myths differ, but they all kind of basically curse her in some way or another. One that I read said that her children would be cursed to die if she didn't come back to Adam. So we see the themes in this story of, the masculine need for power and control and the feminine need to be wild and free, and how those don't match up. So what does this mean in the natal chart? Lilith has, in my opinion, two meanings. Okay, so one meaning is that Lilith can be the shadow. So this can be an area of life where you tend to overdo it. You have maybe too much of this energy, or the way that you express the energy wherever your Lilith is in your chart is like the shadow side of that sign, the negative side, the overindulgence. It can be where you feel like there's never enough. The second meaning of wherever your Lilith is the thing that people don't let you express, the thing that people get upset at you for expressing. And this may or may not be the energy of your sun, moon, or rising, depending on where Lilith is in your chart. But oftentimes you can actually be embodying this energy in a normal, regular way, and people will not accept you for living that out, even if it's balanced. And so it takes a little bit of self-knowledge, like true self-knowledge, true soul searching, to really be able to kind of parse out the difference with Lilith between where you possibly could be overindulging, where you could be, never satisfied, versus where you are naturally embodying that energy in a balanced and healthy way, but it somehow rubs other people the wrong way. Just like Lilith in that story where she wasn't really doing anything wrong. She just said no once. And that was enough to get her cast out of basically society and demonized for the rest of her life. So this is the story in our own lives where we have those sort of archetypes, those themes play out, even if they're not as extreme, right? So we might not be cast out of society, but people around us might not approve for certain things. And, that has ripples and layers of effects. So let's now get into what Lilith means in your sign. So if you have Lilith in the sign of Taurus in your astrology chart, then, there are two ways this can show up. One is the excess of Taurus energy, and the other is other people not accepting you when you express that and embody that energy. So what does it mean to have excess Taurus energy? Well, Taurus is the sign of enjoying the senses. So when you have too much of this energy, you might just really love comfort a little too much. How this can show up is through things like overindulgence in the physical things in life. So food can be one of them. Sex can be one of them. Even something like having possessions, having nice things around you, you could find that you maybe overspend or you put your comfort above other things. And I guess in the worst case scenario, this could even lead to a real imbalance when it comes to anything you could enjoy, anything that gives you pleasure. So I'll let you figure out what that might look like. Remember, this is on a spectrum, and so it's up to you to figure out where you lie on the spectrum of seeking pleasure, seeking comfort, and comfort being important. It's like with Lilith here, there's a part of you that might feel like there's never enough. You know, there's never enough of the things that make you physically feel good. Because again, Taurus is enjoying the senses. You might feel like there's never enough time in nature, your house isn't ever beautiful enough, your clothes don't ever feel good enough on your skin. You know, this like constant need for more comfort. And again, that can be food, it can be other things, anything that makes you feel comfortable. I mean, Taurus is really about enjoying life, but I feel like there's a materialistic side here. Oftentimes people with strong Taurus placements, these are the people that are always going to have the things. You know, again, they're always going to have the nice home. Taurus really wants a nice home. So you might always feel like your home is never nice enough, or like once you get to that home, it's like, oh, this one, the paint is ugly, or, you know, finding little things to always want to make better. Now, whether that's really a true problem or imbalance kind of depends upon, you know, your life and how it shows up for you. But there's this feeling of like, almost like never being satisfied with this placement. So you might have to learn how to deal with some of that dissatisfaction and find joy in more of the simple things. Now, this doesn't mean you can't have money with this placement or you can't build up a life that has nice things if you want to. But with Lilith here, there's more of a potential that this area of life is not going to naturally be balanced for you. And that some of that imbalance could be from that feeling of like, there's just never enough. Like, this is a black hole in my life that I can never fill up all the way. So now let's talk about what it can look like if the way this shows up for you is other people rejecting you expressing this energy. This would look like someone judging you if you do have nice clothes, someone judging you for wearing makeup or for enjoying your time in nature and just taking a break, someone judging you for having nice things, building wealth. Building wealth is part of the sign of Taurus. So if you are trying to build wealth, you may find that when you talk about building wealth, you know, people don't like that, but someone else can, and it's like, oh, it's just the way they are. So this is kind of how our Lilith shows up. Remember, this is the part of us that other people reject. It is our shadow. Now, remember, that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. Lilith didn't do anything wrong. She just didn't want to be treated as less than. So this energy of I don't want to be treated as less than because this is what I'm into can show up through that sign and the house that Lilith is in our chart. And again, the way this can show up in Taurus is people not understanding or getting upset at you for wanting to have money, even if all you're doing is just having enough. Like, you don't have to be super money hungry for someone to reject that part of you. You could just say like, you bought something and someone will flip out on you, or, you know, you'll do something that really is you naturally expressing how much you want to enjoy life, and someone's like, ew, you're gross, or something like that. Things like this, where people judge you for what you enjoy, or for wanting to enjoy yourself, or for wanting to have things, or for caring about your financial security. And if you want to book a private reading with me, I will put the link for my website in the description too. So check that out if you want to go more into, you know, whether your Lilith is prominent or not, and really to see how more specifically this is going to show up for you. We can look at that as well as a bunch of other stuff. So click the link below to book with me, and I will see you all in the next video.